The text describes the insidious tactics used by perpetrators in gang stalking to manipulate and control their victims. It outlines various psychological strategies such as covert operations, sadistic gratification, establishing dominance, strategic patience, and the psychology of the perpetrators. The perpetrators exploit loopholes to evade legal consequences and use incremental escalation to compel victims to comply with their demands. The text concludes by advocating for awareness and action to empower victims and fight against gang stalking. What psychological tactics do perpetrators use in gang stalking to manipulate and control their victims? Writing by RODERICK, DUPLECHAIN. The insidious tactics of gang stalking, unveiling the psychology behind the perpetrator's manipulative strategies. As someone who has endured the torment of gang stalking for 19 years, I'm intimately acquainted with the insidious nature of this psychological warfare. Every day feels like an uphill battle, leaving victims bewildered and despondent, questioning the motives behind such relentless persecution. But behind the facade of anonymity and covert operations lies a chilling psychology that drives these perpetrators to slowly chip away at their victims. 1. Covert operations. The art of concealment. Gang stalkers are masters of deception, employing covert methods to evade detection and suspicion. Their calculated approach ensures that their nefarious activities remain under the radar, allowing them to operate with impunity. By adopting a slow and gradual strategy, they manipulate their victims while maintaining a veil of innocence, making it difficult to discern their true intentions. 2. Sadistic gratification. Maximizing the victim's suffering. These perpetrators derive perverse pleasure from inflicting anguish upon their victims, reveling in their torment and despair. By prolonging the suffering through incremental tactics, they derive a sense of power and control, relishing the psychological devastation they unleash. Their sadistic inclinations drive them to push boundaries and explore new avenues of torment, leaving victims trapped in a nightmarish cycle of agony. 3. Establishing dominance, manipulating through control. At the heart of gang stalking lies a desire for domination and control over the victim's life. By systematically dismantling their finances, mental well-being, and social support networks, perpetrators establish a stranglehold over their victims, rendering them vulnerable and dependent. Through subtle manipulation and coercion, they instill a sense of helplessness, convincing victims that they alone hold the key to salvation. 4. Strategic patience, maximizing impact through gradual erosion. Patience is a virtue for gang stalkers, who meticulously chip away at their victims' stability over time. By employing a slow and methodical approach, they amplify the impact of their actions, leaving a lasting imprint on their victim's psyche. Each calculated move serves to deepen the sense of despair and isolation, ensuring that the victim remains ensnared in their web of manipulation. 5. The psychology of the perpetrators. Sadism, narcissism, and sociopathy. Behind the facade of normalcy lies a dark triad of traits: sadism, narcissism, and sociopathy. These perpetrators lack empathy and remorse, viewing their victims as mere playthings to satisfy their insatiable desires. Their disregard for human suffering knows no bounds, as they exploit and manipulate with impunity, driven solely by their own gratification. 6. Plausible deniability, evading legal consequences. Operating within a murky legal landscape, gang stalkers exploit loopholes and gray areas to evade accountability for their actions. By skirting the boundaries of legality, they ensure that their crimes remain difficult to prosecute, leaving victims powerless and vulnerable. This calculated approach allows them to push the limits of psychological torture while minimizing the risk of legal repercussions. 7. Incremental escalation, the path to subtle compliance. Direct confrontation carries inherent risks, so gang stalkers opt for a gradual escalation of suffering to achieve their ultimate goal. By incrementally increasing the pressure and coercion, they compel victims to comply with their demands, all while maintaining a facade of innocence. This subtle manipulation ensures that victims remain compliant and pliable, trapped in a cycle of abuse and manipulation. In conclusion, empowerment through awareness and action. The psychology behind gang stalking is a labyrinth of manipulation and cruelty designed to ensnare and destroy unsuspecting victims. But awareness is the first step towards empowerment, as victims reclaim their agency and seek justice against their tormentors. By shedding light on the twisted motives and tactics of these perpetrators, we can work towards eradicating this insidious phenomenon and providing hope for a brighter future. Stand strong, defend yourself, survive. Join the fight against gang stalking and refuse to be a victim any longer. Your voice matters, and together, we can shine a light on the darkest corners of society and reclaim our right to safety and freedom.